Hello, teachers, coaches, studio and gym owners. Welcome to another edition of Spectacle Blue Aerial Dance's Teacher Tip Tuesday. My name is Robin Such, and I am the founder of the Spectacle Blue Aerial Dance Teacher Training and Certification Program. I'd like to talk today a little bit about probably our most daunting element of having an aerial dance program in your studio or your gym, and that is rigging. I think that rigging is an under-discussed topic when people are starting an aerial dance program, and even for those of us who've been around and are a little more seasoned. I think technology is changing, industry standards are always changing, and it's hard to stay on top of all of that information and cut through the noise to make sure that we are getting the right information and we are using our equipment in the right way at all times. Just researching that can feel like a full-time job, and it can be totally overwhelming. So whether you are a brand new studio with an aerial program, whether you're a seasoned coach, or whether you're just thinking about starting a program, today's episode is all about rigging and some of the things we want to be looking at to help make sure that our programs are as safe as possible. Particularly because we're dealing with youth and children, and parents are leaving their kids in our hands, trusting that we are doing what's best for their kids. So I really believe in the good, better, best system, and what we want to be doing is doing our very best when it comes to rigging. I know that rigging can be kind of technical and can be kind of boring and can be kind of dry, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how well we spot. It doesn't matter how great our progressions are and how much strength we instill in our students. If our rigging is not done correctly and our rigging fails, it won't matter how great we have worked and how much work we have done in order to create strong students and safe programming from a hands-on standpoint. So I think the first place we need to start is making sure that our buildings and our studios are completely safe and structurally sound to house the aerial dance program and the kind of work that we're doing. And I know it can feel like an extraneous expense when we're already purchasing equipment, getting extra mats to run our aerial dance program, but I really think it's important that we consult an engineer before we hang students from a building. It's true that most modern industrial buildings these days have a big enough safety factor in their build to house the kind of work that we're doing, but that's not the kind of thing we want to take a guess at. The last thing we want to do is put our building and our students at risk. So it's worth the small spend comparatively to just have an engineer come in and take a look at your building and give you the green light to go ahead. Then you can move forward 100% sure that your building's going to be safe, and from that standpoint, your students are going to be safe. If you're looking for an engineer, what you're looking for is a structural engineer, and structural engineer is like a little subcategory of civil engineer. So there's lots of those in every town, and they're going to know all of the different calculations that are required depending on whether you have a snow load capacity that you need to factor in. So those of us in Canada and even across Canada, that changes based on the amount of snow that we receive. So you want to make sure that an engineer is going to be able to look at all those various things to make sure that your building is going to be safe. So I always encourage you to have a conversation with this engineer and get them to come in, take a look. It's worth the spend for the peace of mind. The next thing I want to talk about is equipment. There are a lot of places out there to buy aerial equipment and strapping and carabiners and swivels and all the amazing things that we need. What I want you to make sure is that all the equipment that you purchase is purchased from a reputable source and it is all stamped and certified. So there should be, on all the equipment you buy, there should be some certification and some standards listed on that equipment. So if you take a look at this swivel that I'm showing you, you will see that it's got all kinds of classifications and numbers and certifications on there. Always go to the product sheet for that manufacturer, and you can find this information online. It's easy to find, and they will explain exactly what that means so that you know it's not just a bunch of numbers that are on there. You know what that means so that you know that it's safe. You really want to make sure you know what the maximum load capacity of that swivel is, because the last thing you want is a quick failure, right? So just do a little bit of research. It doesn't take very long. And if you're struggling to understand what all that means, there are lots of resources out there. A certified rigger is a fantastic person to talk to. They can explain in 10 seconds what all that means for you. So you'll see if you look at this carabiner now, it has the same thing. It's got all the information stamped on it so that you know what that is. You quickly jump onto the product guide sheet online for that manufacturer, and it will explain it all and give it to you all right there. So for 10 minutes of research, you have the peace of mind to know your equipment is safe. If you're looking to buy equipment and you can't find a product sheet on that equipment and you can't find that information stamped on your equipment, I would not purchase that equipment, because I'm really working with good, better, best, and best practices has that information. Then you know 100% you have peace of mind that the equipment's been tested and it's certified and it's rated. So that's what I would encourage you to do too. I know there are lots of choices out there, and sometimes because of budget, we want to go with the most inexpensive equipment. And I'm not saying that more expensive is better and less expensive is not as great. I'm just saying we want to make sure that we're ensuring it's certified and it's stamped and we understand the load capacity of that equipment so we can be sure that we're using it safely. And on the topic of using our equipment safely, a lot of the equipment that we use is borrowed from other industries. Some of it is borrowed from construction style rigging, and some of it is borrowed from rock climbing, and some of it is borrowed from all kinds of places. What we want to make sure that we're doing is using it as it was intended. And although a lot of it's not intended for aerial dance use, we need to make sure we understand the way it was designed to be used, so that we're super careful about using it correctly. So for example, when we're talking about carabiners, our carabiners were always meant to be used with an up and down force. That's what they were designed for. So we want to make sure that when we use our carabiners and we're rigging our equipment, that we're putting that straight line load on our carabiners. We want to be really careful about load that pulls the carabiner to the side, because that's not how the equipment was designed to be used. So we have to be super mindful about our rigging and how we use our equipment to be sure we're using it in the way it was meant to be used. As I mentioned earlier, it can be really daunting and it's hard to cut through the noise. There's so much information, there's so many changes in industry standards. It's really can be daunting to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing to keep our students safe and to be using best practices. So if you're a dance teacher or a studio owner who's been thinking about starting a program at their studio and you've been daunted by this idea, I'm going to do a little shameless plug here and explain to you why I think Spectacle Blue is a good choice for you. We take you through every single step of the process. We have a cheat sheet for you that you get free of charge. All you have to do is join our email list and I will send that off to you, that will help you make sure that your building is structurally sound. We call it our Demystifying Aerial Dance Rigging Worksheet, and it just helps you go through the steps, what question to ask your engineer to get the answers you need to do step number 1, which is to make sure that your building is safe. And then, as we mentioned earlier, step number 2 is making sure that the equipment you purchase is certified and best quality. So we have created the Guide to Purchasing Aerial Dance Equipment, a checklist, and that just helps guide you in the right direction for what you're looking for the kind of equipment you need to start your program. Once you register for our Teacher Training Level 1, the first module of that course is all about rigging. We have a certified rigger on staff now, and he's going to teach you how to use your equipment, how to maintain your equipment, how to check it to be sure that it's safe and it doesn't need to be replaced. He goes through step by step exactly how to use your equipment. And then from there, we have hands-on. So we have plenty of time actually doing some rigging so that you leave the course feeling 100% confident that you know what you're doing and you're safe when you're going to be rigging your equipment back at your own studio. And if you have any questions when you get back, we are an open door. I tell students in my course, if you are rigging and you are not sure, we have amazing technology. FaceTime me, take a video, call me. Let's talk it through step by step and make sure that you have it safe. The most important thing in level 1 teacher training is rigging. Yes, we teach spotting. Yes, we teach aerial elements. Yes, we teach the strength that you need to achieve those aerial elements. But if we do not have strong and safe rigging, then we have failed you at the very beginning. So we want to set you up for success, and then we want to be there for you each and every time you have to re-rig so that we know that you know you're safe and you can move ahead confidently with your program. And for teachers who have already taken my program, you guys, we're not going to leave you behind. As industry standards change, as equipment information comes out, as there's changes in equipment, whether for better or because something was removed from the market, we are keeping our finger on the pulse of that, and we will share that with you every time a change comes up. So you will be on top of industry standards. I'm working with a team of engineers and I'm working with our staff rigger now so that we always are up to date, and as soon as we get that information, we send it out to you. And if you're a seasoned coach and you've been running an aerial program for a long time, I get you might not want to take my program because you feel like it's a little junior, right? Level 1. And I get that. I promise if you do take it, you're going to get tons of information that is awesome out of our program. Plus, it's really super fun. We have a great group of people and we teach in small training groups. But if you're not going to do that, that's totally fine. But educate yourself in some way, whether you take a rigging course somewhere. I would just be a little mindful of some of the groups that can be out there. They're awesome groups, but there's a lot of people and a lot of noise. So just make sure when you get information from some of these groups, you research that information, you fact find for yourself to know for sure that the information that you're getting is the right information and the right information for you and your usage of the equipment. So I just want everyone to be as safe as humanly possible. So whenever you receive a new piece of information or a new way to use equipment, that you do your due diligence and do some research and do your own fact finding, do some comparison with the various bits of information that are out there. And I always, always, always suggest you contact a trusted, certified professional to check on the facts of your information, because those people are trained and they're there to help you. And again, we want to make sure we are doing good, better, best practices with our studios and our students. Well, I know I sounded a little bit ranty on this episode, but I really believe that rigging is our number 1 priority. And it's often the one that gets overlooked the most. So I encourage you, please, please, please do not overlook your rigging. And I would have these things checked on the regular. Your equipment needs to be maintained on the regular. I know that equipment can feel kind of daunting and a little bit expensive, especially if you're buying your best quality. But the last thing we want is for there to be an accident because we did not have proper equipment or proper rigging. That's not good for you, that's not good for our industry, and it's certainly not going to be good for the parents and the students if there's an accident. So again, I know I'm a bit ranty, but I really, really want to drive home that this is not something to be taken lightly. We shouldn't just be buying equipment on the internet and hanging it up. We really need to ensure that we know exactly what we're doing with that equipment so that we're using it right and we've got the right equipment for the right job. So I'm going to stop now because I'll start repeating myself because I get very passionate about this subject. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me. You can reach me at info@spectacleblue.ca, and I will do everything I can to guide you in the right direction, whether you're a student of mine or not. I'm here to help everybody have a safe program. So reach out if you need to. I'm happy to help you, and we will do our very best, because as a community, if we can be safe and have best practices, we will only grow and be stronger together. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope you got something out of today's teacher content tip. If you're looking for some of our other tips, you can head to our website at www.spectacleblue.ca. Click on the link for teacher training. All the videos are there at the bottom for you. Stay connected with us. You can subscribe to our newsletter at www.spectacleblue.ca. You'll get these weekly videos sent directly to your inbox. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We are Spectacle Blue. Follow us on Facebook at Spectacle Blue Studios or on Instagram at Spectacle Blue. And if you want to know more about growing or starting your very own aerial program at your studio, I'd love to help you. Just contact me at info@spectacleblue.ca. Thanks. Bye for now.